Everybody. Okay, so I am on tour. I am on a UFO Contact Tour. I apologize if I'm looking a little bit scruffy, and you can probably tell I am in my car right now. My tour started yesterday, and the whole reason for this tour is so that I can travel around a bit and try and go to places where there are UFO hotspots, try and connect with people, bring people together, universal peace, universal love, universal happiness, and at the same time, try and reach out to these different beings who are out there and try and bring them into the loving, friendly atmosphere of my contact events. So last night I was in Santa Monica, and it was a really bad day, actually. It was extremely cold out there on the beach. It was very windy, but I had a nice group of, I think, 6 people came along, plus me. I think that was about 7. And we had a really nice group of people on the beach in Santa Monica, meditating, reaching out in peace to our alien friends. And during that event, let's see what happened. A few people during the meditation were able to see in their minds psychically different beings around us, different phenomena. And there were some unusual beings that showed up. The most interesting experience that I think somebody had was during the meditation, they perceived Arcturians coming up close to them. Arcturians are tall, blue, benevolent beings. And this one young lady, in her mind, she had an Arcturian approach her, reach out its hand, take hold of her hand, and give her the message that you are loved. And it was a very profound and strong message for this lady at the event, and really affected her very strongly. And now she signed up for 2 more of my tour events, which is really cool. Somebody during the event was videoing me. They felt that they're psychic, and they felt that the beings were there with me. And so she was videoing me a lot. And we did this one activity called intuitive photography, which is after we've sent out our initial invitation to these beings during our initial meditation, that's when the beings are around us. And then I encourage people to walk around the area with their cameras, with their phone cameras, and try and reach out their spirits to connect with the beings who are there on the ground with us, and invite them to appear as they take photographs. And when we do that, sometimes, we take photographs of the sky, we take photos of each other on the ground, around us, and sometimes we get unusual phenomena appearing in our cameras. And while this one lady was videoing me as I was walking around doing this, she was seeing on her camera scintillating, sparkling lights close to me, low down on the ground, and she videoed that. I've asked her to send me the video, and maybe I'll be able to share that with you in the future. This sparkling, scintillating area of energy or something close to me, that was pretty cool to get on camera. So we ended up having a wonderful, lovely event, and it's uplifted me and made me feel like, wow, this is so cool that I'm getting to go out and travel around the US and do this sort of thing. I then got in the car last night and drove to my current location, which is Barstow. And this evening in Barstow, California, at 7 p.m., I am meeting people, anybody who wants to meet me, at the Love's Travel station, Love's Travel stop. If you would like to participate, if you're in the area, then come on out to Love's Travel stop and join in the fun. Last time I was in Barstow, we drove 20, 30 minutes outside of Barstow into the mountains to the east of Barstow. And that's an amazing place for connecting with beings. It's a long hike up into the mountains, but up there are very unusual looking caves. Like the history of those caves, I wish I could travel back in time and see what was going on in those caves in the past. You can bet people lived in them and worshipped in them and maybe did spiritual things in them. But because this is a weekday and maybe people don't want to drive out into the wilderness and then hike up into the mountains during the week, I am just meeting in Love's Travel Stop, and that is right there next to desert area. We're just going to go from the travel stop and walk out into the desert and connect with any beings that we can out there. Now, in today's show, I am going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are going on in my upcoming tour. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about just sort of the fun of tour life, and how it works to spend 6 weeks on the road having an adventure. Maybe it's the kind of adventure that you might like to go on sometime yourselves. Just get in your car and drive off to all those places in whatever country you're in. Just drive off to those places that you've always wanted to go to, wherever they are in your country or in other countries. I mean, the US is a massive, huge place with a lot of things to see, and maybe the show will inspire you to take a bit of time off work and go adventuring. Let me start off talking about that first, because it's kind of fun. I'm going to let you know what my tour life is currently like. 6 weeks, spending a lot of money on hotel rooms every night, motel rooms every night. That's not something I can afford. So I sleep in my car, in my vehicle here. And even though it's a bit cramped here, if you pad up the back seats of your car, if you pad them up a little bit higher, then you have more room, because seats tend to sort of slope inwards down low. But pad them up so that you have like blankets and duvets and things underneath you. It's actually quite comfortable, I find, to sleep in my vehicle. In order to be able to breathe at night, you want to have your windows open. And let's see, if you have your windows open, it may be that mosquitoes can get in, though. It may be that you have to nap during the day and too much light gets in. So you can purchase these sort of stretchy spandex mosquito netting type things that just slot over the top of the entire window so that no mosquitoes will get in. And this keeps out quite a lot of the light as well. I actually double and triple these up so I can comfortably sleep in the car whenever I want to. I've got the sun over that way at the moment, and I've got one of these netting things stopping the sun directly hitting my face, which is nice. So where do I park my car? Where is it safe? Well, Love's travel stops. They are pretty safe. There's a lot of people. If you go there at night time, there's a lot of cars there of people traveling around. Yes, I'm sure that some of them are homeless too, but everybody just sticks to themselves, and it's I've done this hundreds of times, and it's very safe in Love's travel stops. Walmart parking lots, that's where I am right now. Walmart's is like my second home when I'm touring around the US. And generally in Walmart at night time, there are travelers and there are homeless people who sleep in their cars, and everybody just keeps to themselves. Nobody ever walks up to you and approaches you, and there's almost a sense of distant camaraderie that we're living on the edge a little bit. Maybe people are going through hard times, and they're just trying to survive in their cars, in Walmart parking lots and traveling around a bit. It's there's sort of a sense of communal safety in doing this. It's hard to explain. Maybe I'm sensing that on a telepathic or psychic level, but it's what a lot of people do. And personally, I quite enjoy touring around and experiencing this kind of life. Some people will ask, well, if you're not going to motels or you're not going to hotels, how are you keeping clean? Well, my solution to that problem is Planet Fitness. And Planet Fitness is quite a cheap and inexpensive fitness, national fitness chain, where often you can stay overnight in their parking lots. Not always, but often you can, and you can use their workout facilities. It's a national chain of gyms. You go in there, you use their exercise machines, and I like to keep fit personally, and so I go in there, spend an hour or two using their exercise machines, keeping fit and healthy, it can be a challenge when you're sitting in your car for hours on end, driving long distances, not being able to stretch and not exercising. To be able to go into a Planet Fitness is good. And of course, they have shower facilities and things. So, and they're all over the place. So pretty much every major settlement around the US has these Planet Fitnesses where you can go and freshen up and use their water and use their Wi-Fi and things like that. If you want to use Wi-Fi, Taco Bell is also good. I don't know if any of this might be helpful or useful to anybody, but I've got kind of very experienced at touring around, figuring out where I can go, what facilities I can use. Taco Bell is good. You can actually sleep in Taco Bell. I don't know if I can officially say this, but let's say they don't disturb you if you sleep in their parking areas overnight. I think maybe they're a relatively cheap fast food chain, and they don't hassle people who use their facilities. So yeah, I sleep outside of Taco Bell's sometimes as well. Burger King isn't so bad either. And yeah, you can use Burger King, Taco Bell, Wi-Fi. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. When I'm touring, doing contact events, every contact event, I've got a couple of night vision cameras out, maybe a thermal imaging camera as well. And those run on batteries. They need to be charged. How do I charge them? I sit in Taco Bell, Burger King, and most of the time they have power outlets that you can use, and I just put in a power strip and charge everything up. And the memory cards that I record things onto, they have to be downloaded to a portable hard drive as I'm driving, so that there's room for the next evening. So that's the kind of life I lead. Sometimes people ask me, well, what do you eat? Isn't it expensive to go on tour? 6 weeks of eating in restaurants, too expensive for me. 6 weeks of even eating fast food every meal, that's too expensive. That really adds up. I mean, it's probably $10 every meal, 3 times a day. Those costs add up, and I can't afford that. So I do Taco Bell, I do Burger King every once in a while. I'm vegan, and I like their vegan options. The Impossible Whopper is amazing. You've got to leave out the mayo, but the Impossible Whopper, fries. Taco Bell, you can go inside and they have high-tech, customizable touchscreen ordering devices, so you can order whatever you want, put in whatever you want, leave out whatever you want, and there's really good vegetarian options there. But that does add up. The expenses adds up. So back to Walmart. And Walmart, you can buy a lot of cheap food. I buy tins of food, like mixed vegetables. I like um, these little mushroom pieces and stems. And if you buy a nice sort of pasta sauce or Indian sauce to mix in with that, you can buy canned beans and rice or mixed vegetables. It's great. You can actually survive really well. And I just had my first meal here, my first on the road Walmart meal here that I've had in a long time, because when I'm at home I cook, and I really enjoyed it. I like this stuff. This is fun. And breakfast in the car is great. I have my cereal here in front of me because I've written my notes for this show if I need them on the back of the cereal packet. So that's kind of life in on the road, and it's fun. And when you're touring in this way, you really get to experience life. And there is, I don't know if it's galactic wisdom, there is terrestrial wisdom in making the most out of your life. I have been in situations most of my life where I've got a day job and it's 9 to 5 or something like that, day job. And, I've really enjoyed the jobs that I've had on the whole. But you find you get in sort of a rhythm of living your life for your job, and then you go home and you're in your home. And sure, you can make your home life enjoyable and fun and nice. You can eat the food you want. You can cook at home. You can make your space the way you want it to be. You can watch your own TV and Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever it is you watch. You can get comfortable. You can be very comfortable in life in your day-to-day routine. But there is so much to experience in life. Variety in life is psychologically extremely valuable to human beings. Variety is one of the things that's on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that experiencing a new I don't think variety is the word that he used in his psychological hierarchy of needs, but experiencing new adventure and challenges and new interesting stimulations to your mind is a need that we have. Otherwise, we just sort of stagnate. And when I go on tour, every place I go to just about is a new place. Every site that I see is a new site. And you get to go to national parks, national forests, state parks, state forests. You get to travel around and see the beauty of whichever country you're in. And there is a lot of beauty out there. Mountains and lakes and deserts and big sand dunes in the middle of Colorado. Just driving through places like is it the Arecibo in Arizona? I forget the name of it, but you're just driving down the road through desert areas, and then you come across those big radio telescopes that are featured in the movie Contact, and you think, oh wow, that's what that is. And every once in a while you'll be driving along, and there's a sign to meteor crater. The huge big meteor crater in the middle of the desert. Is that Utah, Arizona, somewhere like that? I can't remember. But you drive around and you see these things, and then, Mount Rushmore, I haven't been there. Maybe I should go there. Or this forest, and it's just it's a wonderful experience. And there's a lot of history as well. All over the place when you go to beautiful parks, and at the sides of the roads even, there are sort of historical markers, and you can pull up and stop and read the history of the place, how this area was settled by Europeans hundreds of years, 300 or 400 years ago. My US history is not great. I'm not very good with dates, but you go back further and you see these enormous burial mounds and even sort of pyramidal structures that Native American Indians built several hundred years ago. It's a fascinating, wonderful experience. And I mean, I just do it by myself. It's a personal experience for me that I really enjoy. But you do get to meet really cool people along the way. Last night in Santa Monica, it was a lovely group of people. Today, I'm going to be meeting up in Barstow for this evening's events with a friend of mine who's come on adventures with me in the past. He's a US military helicopter pilot, so we have some interesting conversations when we're talking about UFOs and things. And yeah, so this is the life that I lead right now. Some of my friends from all around the country. I've got a friend in Pennsylvania who left on a journey yesterday to meet up with me tomorrow evening in Las Vegas. And there's a few really cool, I'm going to say, beings of light congregating on Las Vegas this weekend, because we have a very special event planned during our contact tour this weekend. We're meeting up tomorrow evening. We're all going out to Chef Kenny's vegan restaurant. Meet us there at 5:30 if you're in the area, and join our group. Amazing, wonderful vegan food, Asian, Chinese, I guess, vegan food. But yeah, meet us there if you want to. The more the merrier. And then Saturday morning, we are driving north of Las Vegas into the desert where the tall whites live, tall white alien beings. These beings live out there in the desert. They have an arrangement with the Air Force personnel there out on Creech Air Force Base, where they can live on that land and not be disturbed by the military, in exchange for the tall whites giving US military technology and technological support. And that arrangement has been documented by Charles James Hall in the documentary, the video, Walking with the Tall Whites. It's a good video. I recommend you check that out sometime. He was stationed out there in the desert in the late 60s, I think, early 70s, maybe. I don't know. I'm not good with dates. But he was stationed out there, and he was out in those ranges out there, stationed at a weather station. And while he was out there, he had lots of experiences with tall white beings and also other species of non-human beings. And over the years, I have built up a relationship with those beings also. I never go into Creech Air Force Base. I would never do anything illegal. But there is a national desert wildlife refuge that borders Creech Air Force Base. And the public are welcomed into that national desert wildlife refuge. You can go camping there. You can go hiking there. You can go exploring nature there. It's a beautiful place. I mean, it's a desert, so as beautiful as deserts get. There's not much water out there. But when I lived in Vegas, probably about 5 years ago, I was hosting lots of contact events on the outskirts of Vegas, in the hills around the mountains, the desert around Las Vegas. And we made significant contact with those tall white beings, and their craft, their luminous plasmic vessels, and maybe even consciousnesses would fly around, and we would see them. And so I always like to tour through Vegas and host events in and around Vegas. We connected with tall whites to the extent that we would see them sometimes in the desert beckoning us like this, and they would beckon us to come out into the desert, and we went further and further and further out into the desert until we eventually were camping out there 3 hours drive into the desert. Now, you can't do this in regular vehicles. My Avalon, my really ancient Avalon, is not going to make it out there into the desert. So I have to rent a vehicle, a 4-wheel drive, to take me out there. But yeah, it's a long, hard drive. But when you get out there, we can connect with them, and we saw some of them in the distance physically. During meditations, they approached us and came up quite close to us. One of the beings went so fully spiritually inside one of our attendees when I was there the last time that the attendee was able to channel the being, and just felt like the way they described it is, they said they feel like their soul has been pulled. And I was very concerned at first. It's like, well, that doesn't sound good. But they were like, no, this is okay. I'm in communication. That the being is talking through me. And I had a conversation with a tall white being whose earth name or human name is George. They pick simple names. Well, most of them do. So we have this relationship with them, and we were able to see their craft flying around, and I even videoed them on a couple of occasions. So tomorrow we're driving out into the desert there. We're going to camp there again, and we're going to try and meet up with them again. On Tuesday evening, a bunch of people, maybe 15, 16 people, we astrally projected from around the world. There are people in Australia connecting with us online in a Zoom meeting. We connected online, and we astrally projected into the desert there to let the tall whites know that we're on our way, and we're looking forward to meeting up with them again. And we were welcomed with so much love. People were crying in the meeting. The emotions were so strong. Two of the people in the meeting, they perceived a being walking up to them, a female tall white, and they described the tall white female exactly the same way. And both of them described the tall white female having a young female child. And the child actually went up and hugged one of our attendees. She was very emotional about it. She was in tears. And we got the names of those two. I'm saying female woman, but I'm not sure. Yeah, there was a female woman. There was a woman and a child. The woman was called Kira. The child was called Amber. And the reason I just hesitated was because there was a third white who was male, whose name was Atar, which is a new name on me. But they've said they're going to be there, and I've been told that when we go there, I should look to the light. And I don't know quite what that means, but hopefully there will be a light that we see when we get there. Look to the light. And friends coming from all around the country to meet me in Vegas tomorrow for this weekend adventure. If you would like to join us for that weekend adventure, then all of the details, the easiest thing to do is to email me at rupertcontactguy@gmail.com. rupertcontactguy@gmail.com. And tell me that you want to go, and I'll send you a link with all the details. There's too many details to talk about here. Let's see, what else have I got on my serial packet list of things to talk about? A couple of, you when you travel around, you see the good aspects of life. You meet up with wonderful people, but you also experience, I guess, in life in general, you experience the negative aspects of people as well. And I'm not sure that I want to moan about this, but I maybe just want to comment on it. when I'm touring around, the last thing I need to do is to get sick, to get ill, to catch a cold or flu. So when I walk around a place like Walmart or Planet Fitness or something, when I'm not doing my contact activities, I wear a mask. I put on a mask so that I don't get infected. And it's interesting. I have noticed that when I walk around inside a shop or a store or a public place wearing a mask, there are a small but very strong number of other humans who deliberately walk up to me and cough. It's like, seriously? Really? There is this element within humanity that feels compelled to harm or hurt. And, even just upsetting somebody mildly, even just irritating or annoying somebody mildly, that is harming somebody. That's causing a reduction in their well-being. And there are people on this planet who enjoy harming others unprovoked, for no good reason, not trying to balance the scales or anything. They like hurting others. They like harming others. You see this on social media all the time with just really nasty people trolling people just because they like it. When I walk around in public places and people walk up to me and cough because I'm wearing a mask. I mean, I don't know. The reason for me having this show is not so that I can vent. It's not so that I can unload my annoyances on you. It's so that I can give advice to people. So here's my advice to people. If you're the kind of person who would do something like that, then maybe try to see that harming of others isn't something you need to be doing. Whatever your political views are, whatever your scientific views are, whatever your views of wearing masks are, me or others wearing a mask in public doesn't harm you at all. In fact, as a scientist, I can tell you it does reduce the chances of you catching something. Now, reality is a very important thing for people to understand, not just because it helps us to know what is real and what is not, but it informs our moral actions, our sense of morality. And if you don't get reality right, then you're not able to get morality right either. Because a lot of the things we do in life, there's moral implications to them. The way we treat others, well, obviously there's moral implications. Morality is how we impact the emotions of others. And if you do not have a clear sense of the reality of masks and viruses, then your sense of morality, consequently, is not going to be right. Your morality is only as moral as your perception, your judgments of reality. And, I've not talked about this subject before, but the whole COVID thing that happened, and indeed all of the viruses that are out there, I think the measles, the thing that's going on now in Texas in particular, all around the world, all of the viruses, all of the infections, a lot of people just don't get the reality of what is happening. And it's tough, it's hard, because viruses are things we can't see. Bacteria, fungi, infectious, whatever those intrusive things going into our bodies are things we can't see. And therefore, if we're to understand them, we need to access them in a way that is scientific. That is through microscopes or scientific testing. We have to look, in order to understand the reality of those things, we have to use science. But when people don't understand science, then that leaves us with our beliefs. And that's the problem, because around the world, people handled the COVID pandemic and other viruses with their beliefs instead of with actual scientific facts. And when I say things like this to people, they said, "Oh, but I watched a YouTube video with a scientist or a doctor who studied these their whole lives, and they gave me the facts." You can't have facts be transferred from one person to another person if you don't understand the science of it. It's still a belief. If you listen to a scientist tell you something and you don't know it to be true yourself, you're believing that scientist. In order to understand the science of it, you yourself need to become scientific and investigate scientific and get out the microscopes and start doing your own research. And that sort of level of knowing is beyond the resources and the time of most people. So where does that leave us? That leaves us as a society where most people don't have the scientific ability to actually know the truth about these things. So where does that leave them? Well, it leaves them not knowing, and the wise thing to do is to know that you don't know. And therefore, the wise thing to do is to know that, well, if I don't know if this threat is real or not, if it could be real, because I don't know if it's real, then the safe thing to do is to treat it as though it is real, or it could be real, and to wear a mask. That's the correct logical and moral viewpoint. The immoral viewpoint is, I don't know a thing about science, but I'm going to believe this person here who tells me that masks are not necessary, that vaccines are not necessary. And I am going to go out and promote those things to people. If you are the kind of person that will promote non-knowledge-based ways of living to others that involve health, then you're responsible for putting other people's lives at risk. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole science of masks and viruses right now. That wasn't really my reason for having this show. But I just urge people to be polite to each other. And if somebody's wearing a mask, let them wear a mask in peace. And if you are ill, coughing and spluttering and sneezing and sniffing, don't walk around a public place without a mask, because masks do act as a barrier to prevent the transmission of disease. Now, you can have a different opinion from me if you want to, but your opinion would be wrong, because your opinion would be belief-based and not science-based, not knowledge-based. I'm a space scientist. Masks are an easy thing. Okay, that's my little bit about masks and viruses, and I will have just lost a few followers, but that's okay. Let's see what else is written on my cereal packet here that I can talk about. Well, let's continue talking about my upcoming tour and some of the things that are going on. And I'm just going to check to see what my time is here. I've got another 13 minutes or so. Okay. On my tour also, after Vegas, Vegas I'm really excited about, because I think that this might be the time when, and this is not a belief, this is not knowledge, this is a hope. We get to have close-up, face-to-face conversations with tall whites in person, because I know that the people who are coming on this trip with me, they're the most wonderful people, spiritual, peaceful, loving, wise people, and I would not be at all surprised if these beings walk up to us face to face. So I think I'm excited. And then on Wednesday, I think it might be 2 or 3 days after the tour Tall White Adventure, I will have driven through Utah into Colorado and through most of Colorado, and I will then be in Monument, Colorado. I'm hosting an event in Monument, Colorado, where there is a beautiful, beautiful hillside where I've connected with Bigfoot and tall white beings up there. Not tall white beings, Arcturians. So if you live in Colorado, if you live close to Monument, then send me a message and ask me for the details, and you'd be very welcome to join me if you would like there. The last time I hosted an event there, behind us, as I turned around and looked up on the hillside, there was a light, a luminous something came out of the mountain into the sky, flew out of the mountain into the sky. That was very cool. After Monument, I'm continuing from the mountains into the plains of Kansas. Long drive through the flat windy Kansas, all the way to almost Kansas City. And in Shawnee Mission Park, I'm hosting an event there. I know some mediums out there. I know some mediums, some professional psychics, some energy healers. And when we went out there a couple of years ago, all together for one of my contact events, these mediums and psychic healers, they were seeing the beings come in. They were intrigued by my interest in aliens. And so they went out there to see if they could see aliens, and boy, did they see aliens. Mediums, people who could see spirits and communicate with spirits, they're also very good at seeing alien beings. And they were seeing them hovering above me. There's sort of a tall gray being who was hovering above me like this, putting out like a protective energy shield around me. That they could feel the strength of this protective energy field. And at the same meeting, she's not a professional medium, but she's a good friend of mine. She's very, very psychic. She could feel the protective force field being emanated from this being, and it was making it so she couldn't feel my spiritual energy. Usually at my meetings, she tunes into my spiritual energy, and there's sort of a bit of like feng shui. She goes around and complements my energy with her own to make the sort of the circle, the group of people, the most spiritually effective. She could not feel my energy because this protective being that was hovering above me, this tall silver gray being, was putting out an energy field that was preventing other people's energy from getting to me. But that was cool. At that same event, there was a reptilian showed up next to an energy healer. This energy healer had been healing people all day, and she'd taken on a really dark energy herself, and she was really ill because of it. Because, you know, there are dark entities out there, and she cleanses people of them. And she had taken on some of that dark energy from one of those entities. And she had a reptilian appear right up close to her, like in her face. And reptilians have an unusual habit of sniffing people. I don't know what that's about, but sniffing people. I don't know if it's a physical or a spiritual thing, but the reptilian was sniffing her. And this person was like, "Oh, hello, who are you?" And she got a response. And the reptilian was called ICOD, ICOD, ICOD. And it was there to support what I'm doing, to protect people, and to it offered her healing, and it gave her healing. It took hold of her hand, and she immediately started losing warmth from her hand and her arm. So she got cold, noticeably so that she actually reached out and held the hand of a paranormal investigator who was there and said, "Do I feel cold?" And he was like, "Oh, yes, you feel cold." And there was a noticeable drop in temperature as the dark energy was being taken out of her. There's often like an energy flow one way or the other when we connect with aliens, and it's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing, it's just a thing, um, like two different realms, two different entities coming together. They're not going to be exactly the same uh, temperature, and so there's an energy flow in one direction. And this reptilian being, Icod, healed her. It took out the dark energy from her, and she went from feeling really very, very bad at the start of this event to feeling completely okay by the end of it. It was also at that event in Shawnee, Kansas, where another paranormal investigator, a psychic paranormal investigator, who again had seen spirits. She does paranormal investigations all over the place. She picked up on a being. She saw a being, a non-human being that she didn't know what it was, but later she picked out from images of Zeta Reticuli or Zeta Reticulans. She thinks that that's the closest being that she could recognize from images that she had researched. Some kind of Zeta Reticulan being in front of her, short, holding a baby that was dead, and she was a female. The alien was female, and she was so upset. And this feeling of upset and loss and devastation was felt by my friend, the psychic. And there was a communication backwards and forwards. And the communication was, humans have done this to my child. And it really, really upset my friend. And she could almost not talk about it for days afterwards. When she did finally communicate to me about what had happened, she couldn't even talk to her husband about it. She was so distraught. Not because it had been an aggressive communication, not because there had been an intimidation or any hostility, but because she as a psychic was feeling the emotions of that alien who had lost a child. And the message was, these beings are affected by humans and our impact on the environment. When we change this environment, we've got to understand this is not just our environment. This is the environment of people all around the world, and animals, and also advanced non-human entities who live in the ground, in the oceans, in the atmosphere. They are in this environment, and they have their biological bodies were created for our environment hundreds of thousands of years ago as environment suits. And now we're changing the environment, and their environment suits, their biological bodies, are no longer adequate for living in this environment. And so even though many of them have the technology to leave this environment, this is their home. Why should they? You know? And this woman was very upset. The female alien was very upset because the human causing of pollution and climate change is having negative impacts on their species. So that's what happened a couple of years ago at this place in Shawnee Mission Park in Kansas, and we're going back there. People have photographed one person in Shawnee in the same location. She sensed that there was something behind me. She picked up her phone. She took 3 photos, and in 2 of those photos, there was a semi-dematerialized alien craft behind me that was low to the ground, below the level of the sky, below the horizon, below the horizon of the tree line. There was this craft, this luminous craft, symmetrical, disc-shaped craft behind me. This is the place we're going back to. If you live close to Kansas City and you would like to attend that event, I think it's Friday, then send me a message. And then we're going down south to Arkansas, to Berryville, Arkansas. New place for me, but there's a bunch of really cool people who I'm meeting with there. We're going to do a contact event there. Then I'm continuing to Memphis, Tennessee. I'm an Elvis fan, so I always love going to Memphis. I might go back to Graceland this time. I don't know. I might just go to the record store to see what new CDs are being released. But in Memphis, not outside Memphis this time, but in downtown Memphis, we're gonna meet up next to the Elvis statue. We're gonna walk to the Mississippi River. Just a few minutes walk to the Mississippi River. We're gonna do a contact event there. If you're in the area, then maybe you could join us. So I'm keeping an eye on the time. I can't see the clock on my device right now, but I do actually have a live thing on my screen. Bill, if you're listening, I'm good. I can see exactly how long we've been live, so I can time this pretty easily. Memphis, Tennessee, Tupelo, Mississippi, Red Rolling Springs, Tennessee. Going to have a fun event there. A few people joining us there, and then we're going across to North Carolina. You heard of the Brown Mountain Lights? We're going there to see those. You're welcome to come and join us if you like. South Carolina, Greenville. I've never been there before. I don't know what's there. Maybe a green town. I don't know. But you're welcome to join us if you want to. Then Atlanta, Georgia. Stopping off there. Last time we were there, we had beings coming around us, behind us, that 3 different people saw appear at the same time behind me, at the same time when I felt them arrive behind me. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Clearwater, Florida, close to Tampa. Then we're hugging the coast as we come back up around Gulf Shores, Alabama, New Orleans, going into Texas. We've got Houston and Austin, and then the Marfa Lights in Marfa, Texas. Marfa Lights, cool UFO stuff. And then up through Arizona, a few places in Arizona. I don't know if I can remember them all, but Phoenix, going to go back and see the Phoenix Lights, hopefully. Going up to Sedona. Sedona is an amazing place. And the last time we were there, we saw a really cool alien craft zigzag over the top of us. And then back to Las Vegas before heading home. If you would like to attend any of those events, just send me a message and ask me for details. I've run out of time, so I am going to wish all of you peace, love, and happiness, and you all have a good rest of your day. Goodbye for now.